Welcome to the Brown Spade Podcast Show. Once again, we are here today. I have my co-host with me, Cleveland Akins, and today we have our special guest with us today from the Frontline Stereo Podcast, Brother TL. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing out there?
Pretty good, pretty good. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Man, look, it's always a good time when I get to join the men from the Brown Spade. So I appreciate the invite, and I look forward to the conversation today, man.
No doubt, no doubt. Okay, so today's episode, we're talking about, I call it the Kirk Franklin Effect. Do you know your father's story? Now, before we begin, we're not talking about those fathers who didn't participate in their lives. We're talking about those responsible fathers who wanted to participate and didn't get a chance to participate because the mother didn't like them because of for whatever reasons, because they're no longer together. And I have had friends throughout the years as a child as well as an adult where, you know, they never really knew their side. They never really knew their father's side, like what really happened. So today we're just gonna dive in on that, gentlemen. So who want to go first? Let's begin.
Man, look, I'm gonna just say, can I start off and say, just I appreciate you guys creating this space for people to have conversations like these. And I definitely, again, I appreciate the invite to even have a conversation like this, but you guys are creating thought-provoking conversation. And this is another conversation that's, I'm sure, to go in the books, man.
Yeah. I hope so. All
right. Well, I'll start off. For the most part, me growing up, my father, he wasn't in my life until, later on. And everything. But one thing I can say that my mother, she never talked bad about my dad. But just the fact that, I did have, I heard stories, storylines of, just how he was. And I would do things my grandmother said, you just like your dad, or right. you're doing things just like your dad. You talk like your dad. You walk like your dad. So right. I never really got a chance. I've never really got, to hear, bad things, or my mother even talk bad about my dad. But I have heard stories, like you were saying, Daniel, from friends and family who have went through, things with their, where their mother, talk bad about their dad, and they never really got a chance to even hear their dad's story. They never even got a chance to know if their mother was even telling the truth. And then on top of that, their mother never ever brought, a positive role model, or positive, male around to even fit that, that spot, so a person, the son or the daughter can see that, your dad didn't do what he's supposed to do, but this is what it's supposed to look like. Right. So it's been cases like that where, I've known, women, family members to do that with men, talk bad about them or whatever. So yeah, that's one of the examples that I've seen, that I've heard, Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, I lived in a house with three women. I lived in the house with my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother. And of course, my mother was the baby of not of course, but she's the baby of the family. And I was the child of the baby of the family. And that's who we all stayed together. I mean, literally, my mother, my aunt, my grandmother. My father wasn't around. And I had to think about how I was going to approach this conversation, because I got two sides of this coin. My father wasn't around for the most part of my life. Definitely the majority. He was here off and on. He was there off and on, kind of a, hey man, that's your dad out there, you want to go say hi to him type of situation. And right. My mother, my aunt, my whole family. Yeah, Cleveland, you say you ain't get a chance to, your mother never spoke bad of your father. My mother really never spoke bad of my father, but in speaking about my father, when she was speaking to, say, a sister or a friend, the word I used to hear all the time was driftwood. He a piece of driftwood. There's somebody who floated on past, and you ain't sink on him, but he just floated on past.
Wow.
And that's the word that I associated with my father for such a long time.
Right.
And you know what they say. The children always want to know what's going on with their father eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what happened. I got a little older, around high school age, that part where you're coming into your own and mom really can't tell you what to do right now. You need that male influence. And I had plenty of male influence. I had my uncles, but my uncles didn't live with me. So of course I started to seek out male influence, and I was like, hey, I wonder what my father's doing. Can anybody get in touch with him? Now, here's the awkward thing. I live, I stayed on the west side of Chicago. If you're from Chicago, not many of us know our father anyway, but that's just how it is, man. But I literally lived maybe 3 blocks away from his family's house. His family being his mother, his father, his sisters and brothers, and I used to see them on a regular occasion, all the time. But I didn't see him on a regular occasion.
Right.
And when it came time to where I said, hey, I want to talk to my father, and we tried to get in touch with him, of course, that was my outlet through his mother. I wouldn't even say grandmother for me, but that's through his mother. And those things start when we started to try to make that connection. It was he kind of just dropped in without saying he was dropping by. And mom was like, you can answer you can answer the door if you want to. Your father outside. And I was like, I don't know how to answer the door for the dude. I don't know, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely awkward, and to know and have heard and have seen, like I'm a kid who was like around his father, but his father wasn't in his life. Like I grew up in basketball courts where I watched my uncles and my aunts. My uncles was like Isaiah Thomas playing on a basketball court. And my father used to be one of those people, Skip Dillard, playing on the basketball court, a blacktop. And I'm a kid, like real little kid, sitting watching them play. My father was one of the dudes who played with them, and he was decent. He could hoop. And it was funny because I was always with my uncle, like my biological, my mother's brother. Not my extended uncles, but like he was out there playing with them too. And he would come over. He'd be like, I'm your daddy, right? That's what I hear, but you'll never bring me up here with you. I'm always up here with my uncle. It was those type of conversations. So I know a little bit about his backstory. And I found out more about his backstory when he came back into my life. My freshman year, no, it was my sophomore year of college. My sophomore year of college, he got in touch with me. He said he wanted to speak with me. It's like, hey, you got no obstacles. My mother's not around. She's remarried. You don't even have to go through her. I got my own cell phone. You can call me on my cell phone or at school, whatever. You can get in touch with me. And literally for about a year and a half, he stayed in contact with me sparingly off and on, but more regular than normal. Right. And that's when I got to, kind of know his side of the story, which wasn't too different. Hey, my mother flat out told me when I got older, it's not that him and her didn't click. He got another woman pregnant. Right. And that woman who he got pregnant, not to call out any specific race, it was a white woman, but her father was adamant on him marrying her because he got her pregnant.
Right.
That was the story I always heard. And when he finally told me, that was the story that he also told me. He's like, I loved your mother. I couldn't be with your mother because when I got this other woman pregnant, her father made me marry her. And I'm not talking about like a little bit of made. And like he put a gun to my head and made me marry her, like shotgun style. And he just flowed with that lifestyle of he had a shotgun wedding pretty much. And he the father, like, you gonna take care of my baby. So he got him a job, and he stayed in that job for 30 years, had four other kids beyond me. I'm the oldest.
With that woman? That same woman?
Yeah, with that same woman. And that's the backstory. But now him being in my life, I got driftwood in the back of my head. I got that drilled in my head for 18, 19 years now. Driftwood.
Right.
I'm not tripping. I heard the story. I heard the story from both sides, and it came out true. And just randomly, I was like, I want you to, spend Thanksgiving with my family. Thanksgiving is also my birthday. And at that point in time, I'm almost 20, living on my own. Oh, not well with at the time, my girlfriend or my ex-wife at the time, she was pregnant. And he was the first person I told that my ex-wife was pregnant. And I literally had this conversation with him. I was like, yeah, I want you to come on by, spend time with my family, and let's, set this path. Let's set this at a different path. And he never showed up. And I never heard from him. Yeah, and I never heard from him again. So I don't know if it's something with him and hearing about pregnancies. I don't know. Maybe he shell shocked and got PTSD. But after that, maybe 8-9 years later, I heard he passed away.
Wow.
So that's the story. And the reason why I said I didn't know which way I wanted to approach this, because I am that product of, do I know my father's backstory? I do. And I had my own experiences and found out how those experiences worked out. But I'm also in a situation where my two children, my boys, that's the thought that I have for them. I was in the house with them and my ex-wife. I was with my ex-wife for 19 years. 19 years, and of those 19 years, 15, of course, raising my two boys in the house together. And when we decided to divorce and split, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. I mean, they're definitely my children, but they kind of took to their mother's side, and mom, that's
mother's boys.
Yeah. No, they really daddy's boys. But this is the thing: when you're going through a situation like that, and mom is saying that, they chose that.
They should.
Right.
They do.
But they that's the piece she played on the board when it came to divorce, because that's the one thing that I would have been bothered by, and I'm waiting for the day right now, still waiting to this day, for them to come and ask me the backstory of what really happened. I've had some contact off and on with them, and they'll ask me, they'll say things like, "What you did to my mama was wrong." I go, "What I do?"
Right.
And they want him to have the conversation, because they really don't know. They really don't know. They just going off emotions that they they
gravitating towards her emotion. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they they being protected of their mother, but they're not getting the whole story. They're getting half of the story, which is not fair to you.
Not at all. Not at all. And I know there's so many men out there that deal with these type of situations. And I'm a strong, as I call it, dadvocate. You got to advocate for the fathers. I'm a dadvocate. Definitely, if you're one of those people who are going through a divorce and you got these kids that you're thinking about, and you find somebody to talk to, figure out what their experiences was, because I'm sure they have something to share with you. Definitely some good advice to provide you, because hindsight 2020, one of the moves that I made when I decided to split with my wife was I left the house. I don't think I would have left the house hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would have went through the divorce while staying in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was different, because what happens is all your children see is you leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's all they remember, and that's all that they're told. Yeah. So I totally understand what you're saying. My father, once my father got sick, that's when our relationship got better, because he was such into the streets or whatever. But once he got sick, he was able to, it's almost like he didn't know who cared about him until he got sick. And then when he woke up, because he was in a diabetic coma for like a month. And once he came out of that coma, he see who cared about him, and all his kids was around him. Right. So after that, it was like, he told us, he was like, hey, man, listen, I didn't think I was going to make it. And he said, and to wake up and see y'all, I know now what's important. So we started building a relationship then, which was good, because I got a chance to see, a sober dad. I got a chance to see, my father, what it would have been like if he would have, just was the 9 to 5, working and, coming home to his family type of man. Because I mean, he up until he passed, he was about family. He was really about family. And as far as me, once I went through my divorce and everything, was going through my divorce and everything, I can tell, just just the things that, what was being taught to my daughter, just about me. And, and I just talked to her, and would tell her, listen, see for yourself. Don't go off of what people telling you about me or just about anybody. You see for yourself, because a lot of times people are upset and mad, and they want you to jump on that same, roller coaster ride, and you might not even you're not gonna benefit from that ride. They benefit from that ride because they made a decision that they kind of upset with what they made, but you're not going to benefit from the decision that they made if you get on that ride with them. You might not like to go up and down because that's definitely what they're doing. So it got to the point where I I didn't want to talk bad about to my daughter about her moms, but I had to tell her, hey, I'm here. I'm trying the best that I know how to be here for you, and to talk to you and we build a bond and build strengthen our relationship. Because I was out the house for almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years, before we got a divorce. And a lot of times,
isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting the amount of restraint that you hear guys have that females just don't have? I don't know how many female listeners. I know you guys got some female. You guys a lot of female listeners, and this is where I go. Female listeners, right? Female listeners, please talk to your trifling friends. They trifling. Yeah. We have conversations like these behind closed doors. We're just having this one out in the open, and the level of restraint. Just Cleveland, right? What you talking right now? And you said I don't want to talk bad about her mom, but I had to tell her. You went to this whole, like you got something to say, but you ain't gonna say it because you're not gonna put your.
You still protecting, yeah. He's still protecting the image,
right,
of the moms for the sake of his daughter.
Yeah,
correct.
Because his
image is not being his image, but his image, and that's what I was saying about know the story. Because as men, a lot of times our image is not protected at all in most cases.
Oh, not at all. Never.
And again, we can be the best. We can be the best outside of the house dad, but that child won't know it because that mother will always make it seem or make it inconvenient for that guy. Because there's a lot of good dads out there. They just didn't get along with the mom for whatever reason. And sometimes, but and the crazy part of it is, like, I had this friend, he was like paying child support on time, doing the daddy things, but she would always make it inconvenient for him to get his child. Well, pick me up here, and then he go there. Well, pick me up, and she'll just do all kinds of stuff because she knew he had moved on. But my point of saying that is, one thing I noticed about the kids is kids always, no matter what, the mom can be a whore, crackhead, whatever. They still like, dude, they overlook it all.
Yeah,
they overlook it all. It's crazy. That's crazy to me because a dad, he don't get those breaks. It's either he's good or he's not. There is no in between. There's no gray space. There's no gray area. It's crazy. It drives me crazy because it's not fair to the male. You know what I mean?
Tupac said it in the song. Even as a crack fiend, mama, you all
black.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. But that's why I say, whoever your female listeners are, talk to the women that you see in these situations and compel them to the same way we compel our cohorts and our brothers. We say, hey man, look, she can play whatever game she want to play. You have to be this way. when the time comes, because I'm telling you what the story they tell me. I'm a product of that. The time will come. It can be 19 years down the line, 25 years down the line.
Coming.
Time is coming. And art is that the story you want told?
Right.
I know what story I wanted told. I didn't want a story where I was going to have my kids and they were going to be able to say, well, Dad, remember you did this and that was bogus and that was messed up. And I got to be sitting there like, yeah, you're right, son. I'm sorry. That wasn't how you do a stand up. Dude, I was a stand up dude. I still am a stand up dude. Like in my community where I lived at with my family, dude, I was the president of the Youth Sports Association, which they didn't have one before I came there. I literally coached just about every sport they were in, not because I wanted to, because I needed to. And when I didn't have the opportunity to coach, I didn't have to. When I didn't have to coach, I didn't. When it came to picking the kids up and dropping them off, I was the person picking the kids up and dropping them off at school, just because it was so convenient for me. I mean, hell, you know them times when they say the dad never show up at parent-teacher conference. The whole school knew me, not just because I coached the basketball team, also because I was always at the parent-teacher conference. I literally got in trouble for my son because of how I kept helping him with his homework. The teacher literally said, Mr. Marshall, I need you to stop and let him figure it out himself. And I was like, I don't know about this new math, son. This is how you do it. And this is how they're going to do it when you get older. So we kept doing it our way. I was like, look, you the teacher. I'm the parent. And last time I checked, you helping me out. So this ain't me helping you out. You helping me out. So this is how we going to do it. And when I had those conversations with teachers, they was like, oh my gosh, Mr. Marshall, are you serious? I'm like, I'm dead serious. I get it. You're a teacher, but they going to move on from you next year. I'm going to still be here. I'm going to be here for the whole time. This is the father I was. And to be in this situation, this is me go, yeah, son, do you know the backstory? Because how can I turn from that and all of a sudden be some, I don't know, whatever monster or person they made me out to be that made you say, I don't want to talk to my dad right now. That ain't the case.
Right.
And the thing is, like, you know, women can take a look and say, listen, I understand my ex-husband, a baby dad, however you want to put it, he was not a good mate, but is he a good father? You know what I'm saying? What and that's what they don't realize how bad that affects a child when a child doesn't have his father in his life. You know, and then when it comes to dating, guess what? It's gonna be an issue. Because she doesn't have a communication with her father or with a positive male role model or whatever. So guess what? She's gonna go out here and just date any and everybody that tell them she's cute.
Everybody.
Yeah, she's cute.
Right.
So
Aunt B say dads never gets their prop. Aunt B.
So you have to think. Say that again.
No, we had somebody type in Aunt B. He said dads never get props.
Oh no, Aunt B. They sure don't. They don't. But because we listen. If you go back to the 60s. When families was men and women was together, 75 to 80%, at the time, the community, it was communities. You had communities, and
but dad got their props though for the ones that was there. For the ones that was there, they got the props. But now you got good dads who are managing from outside of the house because they're no longer with the mom. They get no props at all.
No, they don't.
That's another rabbit hole, because I heard some in both of those exchanges. You said dads back in the day used to get the props. You're right. If you look at a picture of a black family back in the day, you see the mother, the father, and the children. Mm-hmm. And today you see the father or the mother and the children with the grandmother. Generations of past now. And I don't know about where you guys are from. I know where I'm from. From Chicago, in Chicago, that is a political divide. And I know a lot of our people don't pay attention to these type of things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not as simple as you guys.
It's not dive in that subject, brother TL. We gotta do another show on that one.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not as simple as mom didn't like dad or dad didn't like mom.
No, it's layers to it. There's layers to this. This is all by design.
Because
that's a whole other subject for we're gonna do a podcast on that as well.
Because if you look at it, if you take the dad out the household, now you have
They know
separate
that.
households. You have two separate households, so they're making money off of that. Now you got a man paying money over here, man. Then on top of that, he's paying bills over here. He's paying a different car note. You know what I'm saying? They benefit. Oh yeah, they benefit off the fact of us not being together. They benefit of the fact that,
and they also benefit of the fact that by you don't have the proper guidance in the home from the male.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it affects the kids directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the part that they don't see. So it's not wise for a mother if she's no longer with the father for whatever reason, whether they was little high school sweethearts and he just didn't want or whatever. She still got to look at the bigger picture, and she has to realize I still need him to be a father to our child, because it's not just her child. And a lot of times they use those children as leverage. They use them as pawns, and they shouldn't do that. And so what happens is those kids, so now they become grown. Now you've ruined the relationship with their father when they could have had a decent relationship, because what she has to understand is if she don't have a good relationship with him, 9 times out of 10, the kids don't. So even if you're not with him, you still have to have a cordial relationship with that father, some type of communication, because the main thing that both you guys have in common, regardless of what she think about you or you think about her,
is that child. Yep.
So that's the way she got to stop being selfish and saying, okay, let me get out of my feelings because my child come first. So if your child really come first, like you say they do, then you need to communicate with their father, especially when you got a father who's willing to be a part of that child's life. And that's the part that they just need to wake up on, because this is how kids get caught up, whether it's a male or female.
Yeah.
And here's the additional piece. Oh my gosh, I must have turned that up way too much. Additionally, here's a question. Y'all about to make me rant. I'm not going to rant on your show. I do that on my show.
Go ahead, man. Run it.
The question is, for the women out there that's listening, what type of, especially if you got a son or daughters, for sons though, what type of man you want to raise? Because quite frankly, you can't raise a man. And if you need any reference, what's the title of this show? The Kirk Franklin Effect. Look at the Kirk Franklin. Look at what his son did to him. He did some PAB stuff, punk ass bitch.
33.
Don't know what PAB
33 years old.
Recorded his father, which he knew was going to respond that way. Yeah, if you do some stupid shit, I might respond that way.
Right.
That's PAB stuff.
And that's normal talk in our
That's
community.
called parenting. It's called parenting.
Yeah, it's called parenting. I'm not going to be selective about my words because I'm talking to you. I'm your father. But let's flip this. Let's flip the coin to the other side. If that was his mom talking to him like that, he wouldn't have had no problem. Matter of fact,
he wouldn't record her.
He wouldn't even recorded it.
He wouldn't record her. No,
and he wouldn't. And even if he did record it and put it out there like that, wouldn't nobody said a word.
They would have been like, yeah, he put him in this.
There you go.
She put him in this place. Yeah, you got to respect your mom and all this.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people are sitting back and saying, "Oh, Kirk Franklin, you're a man of God." One, yeah, he might follow Jesus, but he ain't the pastor. He the dude who got us singing songs, and that's about it.
He's still a man at the end of the day. He's still a man at the end of the day. And if a child get disrespectful, this is how it sounds when a child get disrespectful with an adult. Period.
Whoa, hold on. We saying a child. This dude is
an adult. Disrespect another. Yeah,
he got the right to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. That's a grown man. That's a grown man who's talking to his father, who has provided him a lifestyle in which he wouldn't have been able to give himself. He has never worked a day in his life. And for you to get on there and do some PAB stuff like that and record your father and try to ruin his reputation, boy, that hurts you more than it hurt him. If he don't make another.
And this is supposed to be, and from my understanding, this is supposed to be his outside kid that he had when he was, in his younger years.
His first
so
child,
again, that's why I said that Kirk Franklin Effect, where his mom probably put, because when he went to go visit his dad and he was in that big house and they was in the little average size house, that was an issue. When he's driving a certain car, they're not driving a certain car, that becomes an issue. So now this woman feed this to this man for all these years. And as you can see, he's 33 years old and he's still scarred and most of his scars really came from his mother's opinion.
Always, dude.
From his mother's opinion and feelings about how she feel towards his father.
Brother,
and that doesn't necessarily mean that they were true, but again, it's crazy. But he's still scarred to this day. This man, 33 years old, talking to his father. I mean, come on, man.
Recording him, like, come on, dude.
You're 33 years old, dude. Get a life.
Right, what's wrong? Man, dude, and let me just bring it back to what you said. You said scars. I don't have those type of scars because I just don't with my father. I just don't. I'm good. I knew I was going to be in my children's life. Only scar I got is that situation right now. But but
it made you a better father, though. But it made you a better father. So it has an effect to it, you know.
It does. But I speak to and mentor other young men and other young brothers in certain situations. My dad advocating situations like I'm in, and who's been in situations like I'm in, like they were the outside child, or they were the kid that their father didn't raise in a household together. I had one of my mentees that I was talking to, and he would always come to me and ask me for, from time to time, hey, you think you can loan me X amount of dollars, or think you can do this for me? And this ain't, no, we have that type of relationship. I didn't have a problem with that.
Gotcha.
He's like a younger brother to me. And when I asked him, I said, dude, you know your father's in your life, and I talk to your dad all the time. And when I talk to your dad all the time, he tells me how he got money set aside for you. He tell me how he waiting on you to ask him to do X, Y, and Z so he can do this. And it clicked for him when I was the middleman between them two. And he sat down with him. He said, TL, this is what's going on, man. When I was younger, my mom, she didn't like me talking to my father. But the only time she wanted me to call him or talk to him
for money
is when I had to ask him for some money. He said, so now that I'm older, I hate, like, he literally broke down crying. Like, I hate calling my father for money because I don't want him to think that's all I want him for. And I was like,
show him something different.
Right. You got to man up. But I heard him, and I said, I don't know if your father knows that. Have you ever had that conversation with him? Right. Have you ever had that conversation with him? He flat out told me, like, no, I just want him to see me be successful. And I don't like having to be, having to fall back on him when I'm struggling, because he can't fall back on his mother. His mother ain't got that situation set up.
Right. She don't have the means.
Right. He can fall back on his father. So I was like, I hear you. I got you. Take this. Don't worry about it. Then I went to his father and be like, look, man, you owe me X amount of dollars because I loaned your son this money. Let me tell you why I'm asking you for it. Normally I would. This is why I'm asking you for it, because he really wants to come to you, but he doesn't know how because of what he's experienced throughout his youth. They had a conversation. And when I say 10 times better, dude, like he's learning.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes is a conversation, man.
That's it.
I look at it like this too. Ladies, also what things that I have seen, most, like how you brought up something to just they go to their father only time when they want money or whatever, or when they need something.
Walking ATM machine.
But listen, if a woman that you're dealing with, or even your kid's mother or your wife, if they don't have a strong relationship with their father, 9 times out of 10, their child sees that. You know what I'm saying? They sees that.
Yeah.
It's important that you have, if your father is alive, you know what I'm saying, and he's willing and able to
be a father.
Yeah, to be a father.
Let him be a father.
Let him be a father.
Don't get in the way because you caught up into your feelings because, whatever reason. He didn't want you, or you didn't want, whatever the reason is.
It's sad. It's sad because
priority should be first.
Yeah, because it's and that's the thing. You got to look at it like, what is best for this child, and get out your feelings.
Yeah.
Stop. I've been through, the situation where I'm trying to, I've been through the situation where I'm trying my best to figure out, like, okay, what can I do to make sure I don't upset the moms,
Right.
so that I can see my child.
Right.
You know. Then I got to the point, it was like, I can't do this no more. Like, this is crazy.
Right.
You know, this is crazy. Like, I'm you know, kissing butt.
Right. Some appeasement.
Just so we won't, you know what I'm saying, won't be an issue. We don't get a problem. And it got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm done.
Dude,
I can't do this.
The filing actually happened when she, like 2 months after not seeing my children, like she kept dodging and, oh, we not here right now. Oh, you can't come over right now. They at this and they doing this and they doing that. So I was like, you know what? I'm not finna play this game. I'm finna file for divorce. And then I'm also gonna I'm gonna ask for a custody plan to be put in place. Months and months of going through the proceedings and litigation of said divorce that took 6 years. I want y'all to hear that out loud. Y'all, it took 6 years now. After taking that, you know, months and time passing, I literally had my lawyer come to me and she say, hey, you know, I'm talking to her lawyer and he tells me she still pretty sweet on you. He said, she like, maybe if you want to see your kids, maybe you should take her out to dinner or do X, Y, and Z. She's still feeling this way about you. And do you know, I tried Cleveland. We try everything to make sure we have some type of relationship with our children. I can't believe I sit back today and think about, I literally took her out for her birthday to say, hey, I'm going to take you out for your birthday. Bring kids with you just so I can see my children.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad for me, but it was, you know, more of my child was looking at me like, you know, like I left, and that wasn't the case, and it amazed me one time, right. You know, her mother actually stepped up and said, hey, right. Your dad did not leave, I left him. And that was, I thought that right there would be, you know what I'm saying, a change of thought process with my child, but it didn't.
The seed had already been grown. The seed had already been planted and grown.
Let me know. Here's the thing though. When her mother said that, did she believe her mom, or she thought her mom was trying to protect you? See, that thing could be flipped real easy. You see what I'm saying? She could have.
I don't know.
Oh, my mother just saying that to protect her. I'm saying in her mind, in your daughter's mind, she could have been saying, my mother is saying this. Instead of taking her word for what it is, she could have been saying, well, no, she's just saying this because she don't want to make him look bad. You see what I'm saying?
And she asked me, what can I do to she was like, because she's not gonna step in. She said, I'm not gonna step in and you know, because that's between you and Deja. I said, okay, between you and your child. I said, okay, cool. I said, you don't have to step in. I said, but can you do one thing for me?
That's what they mess up at.
But listen,
see, that's what they mess up at.
But this is what I told her. I said, can you do one thing for me though? I said, can you spend more time with your dad?
Yeah, go spend time with your dad so you can understand what this is like.
Right. I said that because she spends time with her mother, so she goes see her grandmother. My daughter will spend time with her grandmother because she does what her mother does. Go spend more time with your dad. I said, let's see if that'll help. Because to me, I know that would have helped. That's one of the reasons why I used to take my daughter around my father so much before he passed. For the past 5 or 6 years, I took her over to see, look, you know, you see how you see the bond, you see the communication, you see the love that I have for my dad. Like this, I take her around my mother, both parents. I take her around. You know, it wasn't no.
Look, it definitely has to be displayed.
Yeah. Take it from a product of this environment. Look, y'all, what type of child do you want to raise? If y'all out there saying, I want a man who can fix my car and change my tires and fix the pipes. When you look, I didn't grow up with my dad. I don't know how to fix pipes. I don't know how to change the brakes. I don't know how to do it. I'll pay somebody to do it. I got it. I got that. I'll pay somebody to do it. But if you looking, my daddy used to put down floors and put up roofs and stuff. Look, you got to know what environment we coming from. My mom, I've never been around no dude who put up no roof. I ain't never been around no dude who changed the pipes. So you got to ask yourself, what type of person are you preparing for the world? Whether that be a young female or a young male, them young females, they're going to mimic what you said, Cleveland. They're going to mimic what they see. So if you're a mother who on child support, who getting child support and got a rotation of guys coming through the house. Guess what? 9 times out of 10, your daughter's gonna, unless she despises you, she's gonna do that same thing.
She's gonna follow you. That's her guide. That is her guide. What you know.
So what type of child do you want to raise? What do you think is going to happen? Let's say I don't wish this on myself, but let's say my boys don't have any good male figure in their life at this point in time without seeing me. What are they going to do? They're used to seeing me get up and go to work. Now, if they don't see nobody get up and go to work, they're not going to be pressed to get up and go to work. Mm-hmm. That's how this happens. It's a generational curse that continues because we allow it to continue. We have to make a conscientious, intentional effort to say, this won't be my situation. And it has to be both parties that do that. So women, I'm telling y'all got some trifling friends. Talk to your trifling friends and tell them to stop being this way. I don't have no problem calling the women out. Some of y'all is real bad. It's some out there that's really bad. It is some dudes, and we be trust me when I tell you we be on them, we be like, dude, you ain't shit.
Yeah, listen, I have that conversation.
As a matter of fact, we don't even hang around. We positive black, we don't even want to hang around nobody. Don't do it for his kids.
Because
do that on your.
Listen, if you don't care about your kids, I know you ain't gonna give 2 cents about me. I just know you ain't. Right. I just know you ain't. So no, I don't.
You can't
my circle of friends. My circle of friends. My circle of friends. I put it like this: my circle of friends. All of them are trying to be in their child life. If they're not in their child life, they're trying to be in their child life. Mm-hmm. I don't hang around guys who don't take care of their kids. I just don't. I may know guys who don't take care of their kids and speak them, what's going on, how you doing? But me actually hanging with them and coming to them for advice, no, I don't. I don't hang around them because I know how that looks. I know how that feels. And the thing is, you got to think, these boys just growing up. That's why I don't understand how a person can not try to be in a child life, especially if you come from a single family home and you know what you went through. You know
how it feels, right?
You know what you wanted. And exactly. That right, yeah,
exactly, yeah.
And because I did have some blueprints. I've seen it, but not inside the household as far as what a man looks like. I just didn't have that.
You got,
but I knew what I wanted as a child, and I knew what I wanted from my father as a child. I knew what I would want, and I said I would just focus on that and try. And we try to get it right. We try to get it, for the most part. It's coming from a good place. The things that we try to do, but then sometimes things don't work, and we be like, you know what? Well, maybe I shouldn't have did that. My wife. We had a talk the other day, and she just was giving me some real truth serum that that I had to just listen to and take it, and was like, you know what? She absolutely right, because I'm so, I guess you could say, old fashioned, that I'm stuck in my way. But with these new kids, these new millennium kids, in order for you to have a relationship with them, you got to be able to. I speak my language, and then they speak their language. But every now and then, I can't always want her to speak my language. I got to speak her language sometimes too. And that's what my wife brought to my attention. Like, yeah, she was like, I understand you are traditional and you stuck, in your way. She said, but you gotta communicate with her. Yeah, you gotta be able to communicate what she can understand.
Right.
And
Dude,
so
let me share a story with you. So I got, of course, like I said, I had male figures in my life. My mother had plenty of brothers. A lot of my uncles, I love them to death. One of them I call Uncle Daddy. That's how much I'm around him. Like literally, that's how much I'm around him. My cousin, his son, he laughs at me because it'll be times like when I bought my first house, it was times where I'd call him and I'd be like, guess what, Unc? He'd be like, what's going on, man? I say, I put that ceiling fan up, pimp. And my cousin was like, dude, why are you calling my dad to tell him you put up a ceiling fan? And I'd be like, dude, I learned how to do that from him. He's like, when? And that's what he said. He's like, when? I say, he called me over one day and he asked me to help him put up his ceiling fans. And we did like 3 of them. You was at school. And then he was like, He's like, but yeah, I did stuff like that with my dad all the time. And I was like, see, that's where you missing it at. I didn't have that in the house. So when I do it, it's like you had that positive reinforcement for X amount of years. It's natural to you to go lay down on the floor or go put up, or go reshingle your roof or put up or do something as simple as put up your ceiling fan. Me, I was like a little 12-year-old kid, like, hey, man, look, I put up the ceiling fan. Yes, sir, I did that. He's like, I gave you the confidence to do that, didn't I? I was like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Y'all don't understand what we miss. It can be something as simple as putting up a ceiling fan. Yeah. It can be something as simple as knowing how to tie your tie. It could be something as simple as knowing you have to put on a belt or an undershirt when you wear a certain type of suit. It's all these simple things. So I always go back to that same question. Who you raising and what you want them to be like?
Yeah, what do you want them to be like? What do you want him to be a man, or do you want him to be your man?
Because you see what we getting right now? We getting them wearing skinny jeans like they mama. We getting them wearing pants as tight as they mama. Then they turn out just how y'all raised them.
And the thing is, with a man in the household, a lot of things he's not gonna allow to happen, like talking back.
A man brings balance.
Oh yeah, talking back to the mama. Because I've seen kids.
You can be all this strong. You can pretend to be this strong image all you want to, but you don't have that male energy. So you can be as strong as you want to, but you'll never have that male energy. And that's what creates balance.
Cleveland just said it. He said, like, talking back, dude. I wasn't raised in the house with no dude. So I heard my mom and them go back and forth. And who they was going back and forth with? They was going back and forth with other women. So women be like, why you arguing with me? That's what I know, shorty. I was in the house with all women. And when I didn't do something, we used to butt. We used to butt heads, man. That's just what it is. I had to learn throughout time and listening and consulting with my uncles, like, hey, men don't do that, dog. We don't do that. And I was like, what? You don't tell them when they acting a damn fool? And he was like, yeah, ain't a battle you need to win.
Nah.
You gonna win
you can never out argue a woman. You just can't. You just can't.
You win in silence. Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't. You just can't.
That took a lot of time for me to understand. I'm talking about 4 or 5 years into my marriage for me to understand, because she said something like, look, buddy, that was you. I don't know what you're talking about. They be like, T, I used to have my boys, I clear a whole room. I'd be like, man, I don't care about them leaving. They be like, she be like, don't you see your boys getting up and leaving? And I'd be like, what that mean? Because that's my mindset. I was raised around women. Y'all need to hear, women need to hear this. When you were raised this way, they pick up your tendencies. And when that girl come crying to you about why your son this way, just remember you raised them.
You raised them. Yeah, you raised them.
So that PAB, that Kirk Franklin, that punk ass bitch shit.
You raised them by yourself.
That's what coming from his mama. That outside child with a scorned mother. That's what it comes from. Skinny jeans.
What's that PAB? What's that PAB? What's that PAB?
Punk ass bitch. Punk ass bitch shit. And look, I'm not saying you ain't gonna never learn. You're gonna learn eventually. But yeah, man, look, when you're a little PAB, man, that's what happened.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've been around guys like that, and I can't do it. I just can't, because I just can't, man. I've seen situations where, for instance, I've seen a situation where a man, will call another man about his child, and yes,
right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I can understand if the father was not in his life or you was doing something wrong, but I've seen have came into another man or called another man about his child and question him. I don't understand that. I do not get that.
PAB.
I don't get that, because the thing is, you should never call another man and question about his child, even if you are that child's stepdad. You know what I'm saying? Right. The mother the child and the father, you know,
Right. We're not talking, and you talking about with a father that's in that child's life. We're not talking about some absentee person calling saying, "Hey, dude, I done seen it all. I done seen so many things, dude.
Yeah,
seen so many things."
I mean,
but yeah,
called in questioning about, question that man about money.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
Even after the person was done, with paying child support, but was calling this person, questioning them about money, and it blew my mind. I'm like, I would never ever call another man about their grown child or about their child. I would talk to the mother.
I'm about to say it again. What kind of kid you want? You want a young Franklin? Is you gonna get with a PAB, or you gonna get a Laura Harvey? You gonna get somebody ratchet running through men?
Right.
That's what you gonna get. You gonna get one of those two. You decide what you want.
Right.
Ladies.
So guys,
women.
In closing,
are you about to kick us off now?
No. No. We got plenty more shows to go. We almost, we're in we almost at an hour now. So in closings with our special guest from the Frontline Stereo Podcast, your words of wisdom on this.
Words of wisdom. First, again, let me say I appreciate you for inviting me on. I love when I have the opportunity to speak with the gentleman from Brown Spade and the space you guys are creating. Oh my gosh, this is such a space that's needed in our community. So thank you guys for absolutely creating this space for people to hear some of these stories and start to rethink what they're, because everybody don't have access to peer groups like this. And when they get to hear, especially for men, when they get to hear these type of stories, maybe they'll rethink how they're approaching certain situations. Closing remarks. I said it already, dude. I've been saying it loud and clear. What type of person do you want to raise? And I'm speaking directly to the women. Guys, I know we're in a situation, and for the guys who are out there not raising their children by their own decision and their own choice, I hope you've heard us three sit back and talk. You're not even going to be in our midst. I hope you get it together and go raise your children. But for those women out there who are using those children as a pawn, for those women out there who knows a friend who's using their children as a pawn, you trifling too. Go talk to your friend and call her trifling and say children need the fathers and children need their fathers in their life, because they either gonna grow up not knowing how to put up a ceiling fan or they gonna be running through women like Laura Harvey or recording their daddy's human reaction like young Mr. Franklin did. Those are my remarks. Also, I gotta do it. Shameless plug. Frontline Stereo Podcast every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, I will be on the show tomorrow, and we have a delightful conversation not too far from this one, but you're going to enjoy that one too. So come check me out, Facebook Live, go to Frontline Stereo Podcast, or check me out on Instagram, Frontline SPC, Stereo Podcast is what I like to say. We on all your streaming service, because why is still a stereo podcast.
And I am a fan too, by the way. Brother. Y'all go out here and support the brother again. His podcast is Frontline Stereo Podcast.
Please go out and support him. Please check him out.
Yeah, because it's all about positivity, and it's all about us brothers. We got to support each other, no doubt.
Yeah, we definitely.
And y'all still come support us as well. Go ahead, brother Cleve. What you got?
All right. So first of all, I'm gonna say, you watch the podcast. Hit the like button.
Hey,
subscribe and share. Please share. Yeah. Please share with family members, friends, women, your people in the United States, out the country. Share with them. I'm gonna say, my last words is, it's important that the father is in their kid's life, because a lot of situations that we see, you can tell right off the rip. You can tell a person like, man, he did not have, or she did not have a woman, a male in their household, or a male role model in their house. So
Right.
y'all got to make sure if the father want to be in the kid's life. I understand you and the man didn't work out, fine, but will he be a good father to your kids? Will he be a good father to to his kids? And put your feelings away, because at the end of the day, they're gonna have to get out and date somebody else child or somebody else son or somebody else daughter. And if they don't know what that look like, they're gonna be coming back to you crying and pleading, Mom, what happened? The guy did me like this, Mom. What happened? The guy did me like that. They don't see it, they don't understand it. They're gonna need their father in their life for those, to be able to use those tools or be able to see and understand what a father or a male or a man looks like. So please, if the man wants to be in the child's life, allow him to. Allow him to.
Or they're gonna be living in your house again.
Yes.
Right.
Take it from
With extra mouths to feed.
Right.
Tell them with extra mouths to feed.
Yeah, I just want to say that a father's presence is definitely overlooked, and especially in the Black community, it has become a thing of the norm. And we wonder why our kids are lost when they get lost in whether it's gangs, drugs. Some have very toxic relationship because they never saw a healthy relationship. And for the mothers out there, again, as Brother Cleve said, if your ex is willing, or the person that you procreated with is willing to be a father, allow that person to be a father, because it's going to help your child become a better human being. He's going to be a better father, or she's going to be a better mother in the future. They will have better relationships because they saw how a relationship's supposed to be. And again, I cannot say it enough on, even if you're not with the man, you still have to communicate with that man, because again, that the one thing that you guys do have in common is that child. Even if that child is grown, I still feel like you should have a line of communication then. I'm not saying you got to be best friends, but I'm saying that's something real. And I think we take it for granted in the Black community that when we procreate, man, that's serious. There's nothing to play with, and that's how. And if you want to build better families, and if you're trying to extend your lineage and have a healthy family, and you're trying to end this generational curse, then we got to start this. We got to keep this line of communication open. And on that note, we'll see you guys again later this week. Once again, thank you, Brother TL, for coming out. On that note, peace.